Elkins presents the Elkins Accounting Hour with your host, Chad Elkins.
All right. Happy Eve to Christmas Eve, and I am coming at you from Portland, Oregon right now. So I am here for the holidays. I'm actually sitting in my dad's office right now, and it turns out, in addition to not having much space on this desk, he doesn't have a monitor. So I'm going to be trying to do this with just one screen, and I do have an article I want to go over, so it should be pretty fun. Oh, what's up, Atham? Atham, you're welcome to get in on this if you want to come on, because Clary's not here. So it's going to be ours. But anyway, so yeah, I'm here, and I just wanted to get in a stream before the new year comes along. And yeah, Clary can't join because he's in Vegas, and he said that he has some company over. So I was like, you know what? I haven't done a solo stream in a really long time. So why don't I just do that? Although, of course, if Atham wants to join, we will get him on here. But first thing is first. What if I told you guys that Portland actually has a pretty good beer selection? Like, they've got good breweries out here, and yeah, it's kind of a good place for beer. So this one is called Belching Beaver's Peanut Butter Milk Stout. And you know I love my peanut butter milk stouts. Full disclosure, I picked up a 6-pack of this a few days ago, right when I got into town. And so I've already drank like 2 or 3 of them. So this won't be the first time I'm trying it, but it doesn't quite compare perfectly to the one that I do drink from Left Hand Brewing. Their peanut butter milk stout is truly the best I've ever had, like maybe the best beer I've ever had. This one, it's a little bit, just slightly too heavy on the peanut butter. And so it kind of bleeds into it. But it's still very good, don't get me wrong. And yeah, I see people saying, yeah, Bull Muscle. Left Hand Brewing is the greatest of all time, in my opinion. Yeah, see, it's good, but it's just got a little too much kick of peanut butter, but still pretty good. So we got some cool people in here. Let's see who we got. We got the Diadect. Super Pilotish couldn't make it. Torgo, so you got the flu. That kind of sucks, man. I'm glad it looks like you're feeling a little bit better today. Filipino working at CVS. I think he's a 49ers fan. Thinking Time. Yeah, so he's in Chicago. I'm not going to be in Chicago probably for another like 3.5 weeks. So I'm hoping there's no blizzards when I get there. By the way, it won't stop raining here. As you can imagine, I haven't seen the sun yet. Bull Muscle, what's up? And Naughty DJ Aftershock. I'm not going to join Antifa while I'm out here. Apparently downtown, or at least parts of downtown, are such a no-go zone at this point that, I mean, even my family members won't go anywhere near those places. So, yeah. Oh, the other Marcus Brown. What's up, dude? So yeah, it's just going to be me. There's this article I want to go over, but I also wanted to ask you guys. Let me get caught up with the chat here. Oh, what's up, Rayjon, Aaron Liggett, Jill Pruitt? I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, McMenamins. I've had some of their beers. Yeah, I've been to one of those. It's not bad. What else we got? Oh, Starscream. I've seen you before. Oh, you got hired by TurboTax. That's kind of cool. There was somebody else I was talking to who emailed me that did get hired by Intuit for a seasonal position. I think they call it Tax Pro on Demand, or Clary and I did a stream on it. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I'm going to want to know all about it. And maybe we'll even have you come on here at the end of tax season with some others who work there to share your experiences, similar to the H&R Block guys who came on earlier this year. So, well, cool. Well, congratulations, and I look forward to hearing about it. The Y2A problem is around. Started the case studies at H&R Block. I am going to want to hear about some of those. So, yeah. Oh, Christopher Anon. Yeah, Portland was where microbreweries were invented. You're not the first person to tell me that, and I was kind of impressed by it. Look, Portland has a lot of downsides to it, but the beer here is not one of them. Mm. I've been drinking a lot of beer really since I got here, so it's for the holidays, you know. Hey, John Watts, Mr. CPA, and My Truth, the King. I do see your super chat, so I'll get to those in a bit. Yeah, so it's just going to be us, you guys. We don't have Clary, so let's make it fun. If any of you can think of like a super chat goal to put for this, you know how they have those now. Like Clary can't do them, but I can do them. If you guys think of anything, I'll throw it up there. Yeah, so we'll do that. I'm doing this more just to do a stream. It doesn't have to be a crazy big super chat one, but what is up, Blue Moon Warrior? You got hired by H&R Block. Yeah, I'm going to want to hear about that. A lot of people are going to be at H&R. And Homeschool Time, what is up, man? Strongbow and Hawthorne Black Cider are two of the best. So you like cider? I've tried to get into ciders. I don't know. They're just all kind of too sweet for me. But I have had a few decent ciders, and I've been out at a place that serves them. So yeah, you know me. I'm just a beer guy. Oh, what's up? Okay, Lord. Yeah, so I'm happy to see this. We got a cool crew in here. So my parents are not here right now, and their dog is outside the door because he was like causing too much disruption in here. So if he starts pawing or starts barking, I may have to pause this and go take him out. So yeah. All right. So before we get into this, I got to tell you guys something that happened. It started at Thanksgiving. I noticed it. So like 3 weeks ago or so, and then it happened yesterday again. So I like to monitor, you know, how many subscribers I have, like any channel. And obviously I just do this for fun. Like I'm not trying to become a famous YouTuber. I'm not going to give up my day job. But it was kind of odd because I noticed over Thanksgiving, when I was with the candidate and her family, I was kind of going on YouTube Studio just to check. And I lost like 20 subscribers on that day, literally on Thanksgiving. It was just so random. Like within the span of an hour, they just cut down. And I was like, well, that was odd. And so I chalked it up to maybe they were cleaning up some bot accounts or something. But then we got to yesterday. Like yesterday I woke up with like 3,300 subscribers. And today I have a little over 3,200. So I lost like 100, just about 100 in one day. And I don't think it's people who are intentionally unsubscribing from me. I think either YouTube does some kind of cleanup or they get rid of inactive accounts or something. But yeah, I wanted to see if you guys knew about this. Like I asked Clary about it and he's like, yeah, forget about it. That happens to me. Clary's apparently been stuck on, he said 127,000 or whatever he's at, that 1,000. He says he's been stuck on there for months. So he was telling me not to worry about it. Let me see your comments here. Cause yeah, some of you guys are saying, oh, so Nino, they auto unsubscribe people. I see. Okay. So maybe they did that. Okay, Lord. Yeah, you're saying don't worry about it because everyone's having issues with YouTube. Okay, gotcha. I figured it was something like that because I didn't. Oh, this is my mom calling. Well, shoot. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So apparently my mom is, my parents are picking up Mexican food, which I wouldn't think you'd want to do that in Portland, but they're going to do that. So they just wanted to know what I wanted. So I was basically like, just get anything. Anyway. So let me see. So yeah, you guys were saying YouTube went after ad blocker. YouTube does hate me. I think they do because, you know, I'm trying to say maybe some controversial things every now and then. So yeah, I'm sure they do hate me. They probably don't like me because I'm connected with Clary. So, well, cool. You're still subbed. Yeah, this is probably a good suggestion. I need to put up a rainbow flag in the back, and then my subs will just skyrocket. I'm sure my dad would love that if I just put up a big rainbow flag here in his office while I'm here. And yeah, this was my theory, the one that Atham here has. People realize that I suck, and so they unsubscribed. So I'm thinking that's probably what happened. No, I don't know, but it was just really jarring to suddenly have 100 less subscribers. I thought maybe I didn't know if one of my videos went kind of popular for like a wrong reason. Like maybe I said something, so I was getting rage, unsubscribes, but I didn't think so. So, yeah. So the other Marcus Brown, you've had the same issue. I guess they just automatically unsubscribe people or yeah, maybe they were bots. I don't know. But yeah, it does sound like YouTube's been doing some stuff. So, oh, homeschool time. Is it a dog or a cat? It's a dog. God, he's whining out there. I'll bring him in here for a second. We'll get through the rest of this, and then maybe I'll bring him on there. I brought him on the last time I was in Portland. So yeah, Portland at night is kind of like a purge. We don't go out here at night for the most part. Oh, you got shadow banned. Interesting. Burrito local on North 82nd. Yeah, we're in the southeast part of the city. So, but yeah, we're not far from 82nd, actually. Yeah, let's boost these numbers. I guess I need these type of emojis to boost the numbers. I just thought it was kind of odd. I don't know. But I don't know. You made me feel a little bit better if some of you were saying a lot more people are having it. And yeah, it's kind of what Clary said, but who knows? And yeah, Atham, if you're still here, let me know if you want in on this. Otherwise, I'll probably just like zip through it. So, all right. You know what? Screw it. I'll bring the dog in here so you guys can see him. 1 second. All right, so I've put Lucky on here before. This guy is 16 years old. It's unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe, whoops, he's getting caught in the, I can't believe he's lived this long. Yeah, I mean, he's like attached to the hip of my dad. So my mom's like so over it already. But yeah, this is Lucky. He's a dog of great value. He actually is a service dog officially. I'm not really sure how my dad got him designated that way, but yeah, he's a service dog, and he's a good dog. Yeah, he's a good dog. Oh, now my mom texts me chicken or cheese enchiladas with tomato sauce. It's like, I don't care. Just pick up whatever. So, all right, I'm going to put him back. And then I apologies for all these interruptions. But yeah, this is what happens when Clary's not here. We get to actually, not be so rigid in our format. So I'm going to put him back. All right, I got to text my mom back that I want cheese enchiladas. Actually, Atham, what type of enchiladas should I get? Cheese or beef? There we go. All right. Let me get back to your comments here. I can't wait to be buzzing. This is my first beer of the day here, but I mean, it's 4 o'clock here. So, let me see yeah. How old is yours? Do you have one Filipino of CBS working at CBS? Let me see what else we got. The doggo looks like an accountant. Well, he's my dad's dog, and my dad was CPA, so makes sense. Atham purchased life insurance on Lucky. Yeah. Oh, what's up, Common? Cheese. Queso. Yeah, that's what I went with. Dog meat. Yeah. Green sauce. All right, well, I'll go ahead and knock out the super chats here, and then I guess I can get on to some type of tax topic, since I think that's what people are here for, not to look at my dog and hear me critique the weather. So this is from Arturo Galindo, who I've done some consultations with. He's on the path that a lot of you guys are on into starting your own private practices and tax. For $2, he said, "How are you doing, Chad? I'll catch this one later." I'm doing all right. Let's see, tonight I'll probably drink a few more beers, maybe pop a gummy or something. I'm sure that's going to get my subscriber count reduced, me saying that. And then I got to wrap a few gifts and then watch whatever movie my dad wants to watch. So yeah, so I'm doing pretty well. Let's see. My Truth, the King, for $5. Chad, what do you know about earned income outside the country? There's the 120K no tax ceiling, and other common setup is split and burden between each spot. Yeah, actually, My Truth, I did a whole stream on that maybe about a month ago or a few weeks ago with Clary, pretty much about the basics about earning income outside of the country. And the long and short of it is, yes, you can exclude up to 120,000 from being taxed federally, but you have to be out of the country for 11 out of the last 12 months. And that can also go in between years. So you can do that. And also, if you any taxes that you do pay to your to the country that you're in, so if you're in like Germany or something and you pay taxes to them, you get a credit for that on your US taxes. So yeah, you're not going to get double taxed. And like I said from that stream, really the best setup is to start your own practice, right? Or business, be a business person who can work virtually, go abroad to whatever country you want to be in, make sure you're there 11 out of 12 months of the year, so you can exclude that from your US income. And then what you do is you try not to make, if you really want to take advantage of the system, you try not to make more than $120,000 American. Because then when you file your US tax return, you don't owe anything. You get to exclude all of it. So that's what I was saying would be a pretty good setup. Nino for $5. If I'm going to live off rental income when I'm older, is it better if I do a traditional 401k IRA or a Roth 401k IRA? Well, so that creeps into the area of financial advising more than tax accounting, but it is a pretty good question. Traditional 401k. I mean, most people would say Roth for the obvious reason that when you take the money out, you don't get taxed on it. Because when you made the Roth contribution, you didn't get a tax deduction. So when you take it out, you're not going to get taxed on that. But if you're going to live off of rental income, I would say Roth, because rental income might be, a little bit up and down for you. So you want to make sure that you can maximize your retirement, that you get to take from retirement at that point. Because you might actually need the cash, and if you can take that money out and have it be cash or tax free, that would be a good thing, obviously. So, thanks for the super chats, you guys. Oh, you had a follow up, $2. If I'm making 150K, is traditional or Roth better? Well, not to get too technical, but if you are a single filer and you're making more than $150,000. You might not be eligible to make a Roth IRA contribution. However, even if you're not eligible to do it, you can do what's called a backdoor Roth contribution, where you contribute to a traditional IRA and then you immediately convert it to a Roth, like within a few days. I think you have 60 days to do it. So either way, you can do it. You can just do it directly or indirectly. I'm a big fan of the Roth. I kind of mix it. With myself, I do a little bit towards my SEP, which is traditional, and then another contribution personally to my Roth. I want to mix it up because I want to get a bit of a business break. I want a tax deduction for my business, but then personally, I prefer to just do the Roth. So yeah, mix it up a little bit. Good questions. My Truth, the King. Do I know anything about the Puerto Rico resident setup? I don't, but I am fairly certain that people in Puerto Rico don't necessarily pay taxes. I could be wrong on that, but I believe they're actually exempt. So if you do set up a residency in Puerto Rico, you just might be able to avoid at least having to pay a lot in taxes. I need to check. I need to do a bit of a credit check on that. I'm not totally sure about that, but I think that's what the situation is. If somebody knows, correct me in the chat, please. Christopher Anand says, foreign tax credit only applies if tax treaty. That is correct, yes. Most countries do have some kind of tax treaty with the U.S., not all of them. Now, Christopher, I'm not going to tell people where you are. Like, I know where you are. Well, it's funny. You gave it up a little bit with your next super chat. Well, anyway, Christopher Anand is in a certain country in Europe, and I don't know what that translates to. But tell me, Christopher, does the U.S. have a tax treaty with that country that you're in? Because I suspect probably not. But like I said, I could be wrong about that, so I'd be pretty curious. And then this isn't a super chat, but I'll just read it real quick from the Bachelor Diet. Chad, is the CPA worth it if I work in corporate accounting, currently a staff accountant? Yes, I would say that if you intend to stay in corporate accounting, you're going to want to get your CPA because that's what it's really best for at this point. I mean, it goes on a resume. It looks really good on a resume having a CPA, and corporate jobs will just eat that up. So yes, it depends on what your future plans are, but you should get it if you're going to stay in corporate. So, all right, let me check your comments here. Remember, I don't have another screen. Oh, what's up, Super Pilotish? Good seeing ya. Let's see. Yeah, I thought so. Puerto Rico does have 0% income tax. It's interesting though, because some of the people in Puerto Rico want Puerto Rico to become a state. I'm not really sure why they would push for that, because even if it would allow them to vote, well, I think they already vote, but like, I feel like it's not a good idea for them to want to become a state, because then they would probably be subject to, well, they would not probably about it. They would be subject to income taxation on a federal level if they became a state. So I don't really understand that. I'm sure they get benefits too, but eesh. What else we got? Russia. Okay. All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started on this article. And like I said, I'm going to try to read it and respond as best I can. I really wish I had a second monitor here. Yeah. I just real quick, the problem with this beer, with this particular milk stout, is that the left-hand milk stout, it just goes down so silky smooth, like it's so balanced that it almost feels like you're having a dessert. Like it's so good. This, like I said, I think they overdid it on the peanut butter. So this one is kind of an A- for me, but still pretty good. All right, I'm going to try to present this article here. So hold on. I saw this just a couple of days ago, and I thought, well, I'm probably going to have to do this show on my own. Like Clary's not going to join. So I wanted it to be something kind of interesting where you guys could provide feedback for a good topic. So give me 1 second here. Share screen. This article is from Forbes, okay? And you can see the title of it. Well, that's my outline. God, I feel like such a boomer here. All right, we're going to do this. Well, Trump, this is an article from Forbes. It came out about a week ago on December 17th. It's by this guy named Howard Gleckman. And like Clary often recommends I do, I always look up the people who write articles so you can get a feel for what their bias is and what their background is. I don't even have to tell you guys what this guy's background is, because as I'm reading the article, you're going to know exactly which side of the fence that he falls on. So yeah, let's go here. So, will Trump put the IRS and voluntary tax compliance at risk? The last stream that I did with Clary, we were talking about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They were the DOJ, Department of Government Efficiency, and they had some sharp criticism for the Internal Revenue Service, especially with their technology, their out-of-date technology. And I think I was reading between the lines a bit, but I think they were also complaining about some of the dead weight staff that the agency has, which I can corroborate based on my time there. But anyway, let's go through this article, and I'll put some of my own thoughts in there too. So this is, God, this is the guy that Trump wants to put in charge of the IRS to be the next commissioner. His name is Billy Long. He's a former representative from Missouri. He's a Republican. All I can tell you is much of what I've read about this guy makes it seem like he really wouldn't be qualified to be the commissioner of the IRS. But then again, the last few IRS commissioners have been so crappy, including the current one they have now, is just absolutely worthless. In fact, I did a stream like 2.5 years ago, one of my first streams, about what a horrible commissioner. His name is Werfel. Like, that guy sucked. He tried to blame tax professionals for how slow the IRS is at processing things. But anyway, so on to the article. President-elect Donald Trump's personnel choices, public comments by him, and his choices for key administration positions, and a second-term agenda laid out by conservative think tanks with deep ties to Trump all point to hard times for the IRS. So yeah, see how he's already kind of setting the table. But the consequences may go beyond the agency itself. A bigger worry is that labeling the IRS as part of the, quote, deep state and limiting its ability to administer the revenue code by sharply curtailing its budget could threaten involuntary tax compliance. So, wait, I heard the door. That's not good. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that, guys. The neighbor was coming to drop off some chocolates for my parents, some holiday chocolates. Happy holidays from Bob, Maryland, and Ozzy. I assume these are people my parents know. Yeah, I was worried it was the IRS too when I heard that. I was like, they rang the doorbell twice, so something must be going on. Lucky, quiet. He's crying. Anyway, yeah, I'm having a really choppy stream so far, so you guys deserve some attention to the right topic here. So basically the guy starts out by saying, "Oh, I don't know, with Trump getting back into power, he's going to use the IRS, he's going to use that on his enemies." So, getting back to the article. Let me get that back right here. So what Trump and allies say, all right? 8 years ago, as a presidential candidate, Donald Trump said that not paying income tax, quote, makes me smart. It does make him smart. Trump's choice for IRS commissioner, former Representative Billy Long, has co-sponsored legislation to abolish the agency while replacing the income tax with a national sales tax called the fair tax. Vivek Ramaswamy, who along with Elon Musk co-chairs a group advising Trump in ways to cut government spending, has also called for eliminating the IRS. And we'll get to our thoughts about that when we get through the article a bit more. Lucky, shut up. Sec. Yeesh. Okay, let's get back. Can you imagine how mad Clary would be getting with all these interruptions? Okay, so Russell Vaught, director of the Office of Management and Budget in Trump's first term, and the president-elect's choice for the same post in the coming administration, has been sharply critical of the IRS. While much while much public attention has been focused on Musk and Ramaswamy's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, OMB Director Vaught will be vastly more influential in implementing IRS spending cuts. So yeah, we know that the IRS is they're going to get it potentially with these guys coming into power. So echoing a frequent talking point of Trump's allies, Vaught alleges the IRS has been, quote, weaponized and claims, quote, most Americans are facing audits, end quote. In reality, the IRS audited just 0.44% of individual income tax returns filed from 2013 through 2021. And this is what I'm going to pause here because I did want to talk about this. So what he just said there, it's actually right, but it's also wrong. So he's correct about the weaponizing of the IRS. That has happened before. But do you guys want to take one guess who was the very first one who started that? Who do you think started the whole weaponizing of the IRS? I'll give you a hint. It was a president that many of you guys, I don't guess many of you would have voted for that president, but I'll give you a minute. All right. Thanks, Bull Muscle, because yeah, he's really crying. I'm glad it's filtering it out. Correctamundo. It was Hope and Change, Mr. Barry, whatever his name is, Ostatero, whatever. Barack Obama. He started weaponizing the IRS against his conservative political opponents. So yeah, he's actually right when he says that the agency has been weaponized. Oh, what's up, Big Angry Phil? I'm on the same time zone as you nowadays. And so he's right about that. But the last sentence that he said, it is correct. Like almost nobody gets audited. Everybody thinks the IRS is this, omnipresent, like all-seeing, all-being boogeyman. Almost nobody gets audited from the IRS because it's simply not worth the IRS's time and limited resources to go after people. So, that the one line by that guy Vaught where he's like, everybody's getting audited right now, that's not true. And like I say, I have to tell my clients, hell, I said this to my brother-in-law last night when he was hitting me up with all these tax questions and he was nervous about his new business. He's like, I'm going to get in trouble for doing this. And I'm just like, bro, you're not important enough. I'm not important enough. I mean, I don't want to presume, but probably most people in this chat room right now are likely not on the IRS's radar. Like you got to be very blatant about doing some things wrong to paint a target on your back like that. So anyway, that guy he's right that the IRS has been weaponized, but not that many people are getting audited. So yeah. We have to be intellectually honest about that, as Clary would say. Continuing on, Trump and running mate J.D. Vance have accused the IRS of hiring 87,000 new revenue agents for, quote, coming after and harassing ordinary taxpayers. In reality, this year, the agency expects to hire about 5,000 new revenue agents, with most reviewing returns of high-income households and certain businesses. So here's where I got to pause again. Don't trust what that last line said about them only going after, high profile individuals or high income households in certain businesses. Because yes, I know I just told you guys that it's very unlikely that any of us will ever get audited, in a serious way. I don't trust that the additional funding that they use, I don't trust that they're not going to make that more of an enforcement initiative rather than upgrading customer service and technology. So while I really don't think I'm ever going to get audited, I don't think any of you guys are. None of my clients will. That can change. So even though the article, this author's like, well, they were only going to hire 5,000 more people. Just don't trust anything coming out of the administration that put that funding in place. They're only going to go after people with more than 400K of AGI. Don't believe that for a second. So I think they're really willing to start going after low-hanging fruit. I mean, look at that. Look at those 1099Ks. They keep trying to lower the threshold for like payment processors like PayPal. If you sell something on eBay, there's a 1099K. If you use Venmo, so So yeah, I do think that it was going to be anything over $600. You were going to get that, a 1099K. They changed that recently. They kicked the can down the road, and then this year for 2024, it's if it's 5,000 or more. For 2025, it's 2,500 or more, and then supposedly by 2026, they're going to get their $600 threshold, and there's going to be a lot more paperwork. I totally agree, Phil. About 90% of the government is completely useless. You guys were probably hearing about this possible government shutdown, right? They're talking about how they're trying to pass the budget so they can keep the government running. I mean, if they cut all of that dead weight from the government, like even if there is no budget that gets passed, right? And the government, workers, they have to take some time off, forced furlough or whatever. If the government can still operate on that point with just essential employees, why can't we just keep it that way? Why do we have to hire all these folks that apparently the government can still manage just fine without them during shutdowns? So I've never really understood that. Anyway, I keep going on tangents here. So let me get back to our article. So a new commissioner. Trump will force the resignation of or fire IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel, because that guy sucks, whose term does not expire until 2027, to bring in Long. Trump's choice had no tax background before being elected to Congress, did not serve on the tax writing House Ways and Means Committee, and sponsored few tax bills. So yeah, that is true. After leaving Congress, Long promoted employee retention tax credits. That tax break has been highly controversial, with the IRS itself and others alleging that it had been rife with fraud. That's true. Some supporters insist the IRS has been too slow to approve the credits, and there have been no allegations that the credits Long claimed for his clients were inappropriate. I'm going to hit pause again. Do you professionals in there, and even the non-tax professionals, do you know anything about what the employee retention tax credits were? If anybody knows what it is, put it in the chat, because I want to talk about that just for a second, because those things were a disaster. I'll give it a minute. Quiet, Lucky. Okay. So the old commissioner just got replaced. That's all. So anyway, the ERC credits, those were put in place over COVID. Now you probably remember all these people were basically forced to not earn any money. Businesses shut down. That was really bad. Yeah, there were some PPP loan shenanigans. But basically, there was the ERC, the employee retention credits. It was the government basically giving you a credit for not firing employees that, you couldn't really pay because they weren't working. So instead of laying them off, companies that kept these workers on their payroll could get a credit for that. The thing was, there was so much fraud associated with it. There were so many people that were getting these credits passed and approved by the government and getting paid for them that really just had, paper employees that weren't really there. So that's been the big thing. And the only reason I want to mention it was because they're saying that leaving Congress, Long did promote those employee retention tax credits. I don't think you can really hold that against him, because his heart was in the right place. Those were just very poorly implemented and regulated. And I feel really grateful that there weren't a ton of my business clients, that had to mess with those ERCs. Now, some of them did get mixed up in the PPP loan business, but that's a whole other subject. So anyway, back to the article here. Trump, so we got the new commissioner. Trump is widely expected to, Trump is also likely to try to replace career IRS employees with loyalists. In his first term, he signed an executive order making it easier to file civil servants, though it was repealed by President Biden. So let me ask you guys this, and I think I know what some of you are going to say, because we're all a little bit biased in here. Do you honestly think that there's any downside to making it easier for federal employees to be terminated more easily? Like, do you think that's a bad idea? Or do you think that, oh, we can't make it so they can never be terminated? I would like to know what you guys think, because I know where I fall on this. I know where Clary would fall on this. Man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is. It is absolute upside because you guys have to understand. I spent pretty much my entire 20s working for the federal government. And I want to be fair and say that the ones that really wanted to do something good, they wanted to be productive, like the attorneys I worked with at DOJ, the judges I worked with at the tax court, these various federal employees, most of them were really good. Like, you didn't get a lot of laziness out of them. They worked hard. They didn't try to waste money to the extent they had control over it. So those are the good federal employees. But unfortunately, and I think you all know this, at least half of the people there, somebody had a great comment above about how the government is just one big welfare program. I'll see if I can find it. But anyway, one of you said that. And it was just so true, because you have to understand, I worked with some people that were just absolute useless. They were just, they could not do anything. They could barely, it seemed like they could barely read and write, some of them. Like, there were admin assistants where I actually needed them to help me with something. I'd be like, I need you to put together this binder of exhibits. I don't have time to go making all these copies and punching holes and everything. Here's how I want you to do it. And this is what they're there to do. This is why the government has hired them. And they were actually, some of them were making pretty good money on the GS scale, the government pay scale, because they had been there for so long. So they just kept, their pay kept going up and up and up, and they kept getting step increases. And the issue is that they never had an incentive to work hard because they couldn't be fired. Like, there was really, they pretty much had to just stop showing up and outright like fall asleep or be drunk at work. That seemed like the only way that they could really get employees terminated. And I had a number of the professionals there, like the attorneys, who they would pull me aside behind closed doors and be like, so-and-so, I've been trying for years to get them to replace her, but, we can't seem to make it happen. She's supposed to be the one that's helping you, with all of these assignments. I'm just going to tell you right now, don't go to her because she's completely useless. So, but we're stuck with her, at least until we can get rid of her. So that was the part of this article that really hit me. I was like, if Trump is trying to make it so that it's easier to file civil servants, and yes, this will piss off some people, oh my God, I'm so for that. I am so for that. And I'm not, if you work for the government right now, I'm not saying you are useless. I'm just saying I saw a lot, and I encountered a lot of useless people during my time there. So it can be somewhat of a welfare program for people who can't earn money any other way. I hate to call it out like that. And yeah, there's no incentive to work harder, because your pay is in no way tied to your performance. It's crazy. So I keep tangenting, but I'll get back to the article here. So 1 second. Will Trump make more political appointments? Trump is widely expected to reinstate that order, the one about making it easier to fire civil government employees, civil servants. So he's going to reinstate it, and I don't have any problem with that, honestly. Now they're mentioning so Project 2025, the conservative manifesto for a Trump government, calls for widespread firings of federal employees and hiring of political allies in their place. Okay, am I supposed to be upset about that? I mean, Biden did the same thing. He stacked his administration with loyalists. So did Obama. Like, this is what presidents do. But I don't have a problem with them firing dead weight if that ends up being who they fire. So, yeah. Currently, of the 90,000 IRS employees, only the commissioner and the chief counsel are political appointees. Project 2025 calls for at least 7 new political IRS hires, including the head of enforcement, currently a career nonpartisan position. While Trump disavowed the framework during the campaign, he plans to bring many of the document's authors, including Voigt, into his administration. So here's the thing. Yeah, I remember this, like Common said, they haven't read Project 2025. I'm going to admit I didn't even read it, but I also don't think that Trump actually made this part of his campaign, of his political campaign. So I don't know. It seemed like, Kamala, and the others, they were bringing all that up, on MSNBC. Oh my God, Project 2025. So I'm not really buying this article when it's saying like, well, Trump's going to just bring in loyalists and take in some people that wrote Project 2025. I mean, that's just fear mongering, I think. So going back up here, you see what cut out the rot. So watching what Trump does, the final part here says, watch what Trump does. It won't take long to learn how aggressive Trump will be in remaking the IRS. Among the issues to watch, now I made notes on all of these, so I'm going to try to respond to each one using the one screen. Point 1, will Trump replace Werfel in the midst of tax filing season? And I think he will, because that guy sucks. That Werfel guy is horrible. If any of you want to Google him, just Google Werfel, tax professionals. You type that Google search in and you'll see how he was trying to blame us for how bad their agency has been. So, yeah, he's pretty bad. So that Trump is going to replace him. That's without a doubt. Point 2, will the White House move political loyalists into key IRS posts, including enforcement, and how quickly? I mean, I think that's probably going to happen because that's just the type of thing that Trump does. And that's what every president does for the most part. So if it's not the IRS, it'll be, Department of Defense or DOJ or the FBI. This is just something that all politically elected officials do. So I don't care if he does that. Scrolling down. How deeply will congressional Republicans cut the agency's annual budget, which has been frozen for several years? And how much more will lawmakers slash from the $80 billion in long-term funding Congress approved in 2022? Congress already has cut enforcement funds and temporarily blocked the agency from spending another $20 billion. So I thought about this a little bit, when I found this article and I was like going over it. I actually think they're going to make a lot of cuts to the IRS. I do. I think they're probably going to cut that agency to the bone. And for better or for worse, that's what the Republicans have tried to do. They've kind of tried to cripple the IRS a little bit. I don't really care. I mean, here, defund the IRS shirt, of course. Like, I don't really care if they do it. But the one thing I said, and I said this in the last stream we did with Clary, was that I just think if Trump and Elon and Vivek and these guys that are trying to make these government agencies more efficient, I still say the only money that they should be able to use as far as increased funding has to be focused on technology and customer service, not enforcement. Because, I mean, if you try calling the IRS about something today, it's going to take you 2 hours minimum to get through to anybody. Now, there were some improved wait times, throughout the year from what I've heard. Even I had a few, but it still takes them way too long to answer the phone. And then when there's follow-ups, things you need to mail in, things that need to be processed, it just takes them forever. So yes, it needs to have a customer service orientation with the funding. And that's my prediction. I think that these guys are going to take away a lot of the funding, but what they leave is going to go towards the things they need, particularly technology. So that's my prediction on that bullet point. Let me get to the next ones over here. Will Trump reverse Biden-era initiatives to focus on audits on partnerships and high-income households? I admit this one I'm a little torn on because Trump probably doesn't care either way, if they go after small businesses more. I really don't think he cares that much. I mean, let's be honest. He cares more about the big corporations because during his tax changes, the tax reform back in 2018, I mean, the corporate rate went down to what, 21%? This is the big corporate rate, C Corp. It was down from what, 30, 35%. So I think it is fair to say that Trump and his administration cares a lot more about the big corporations. However, they did throw a bone to the small businesses with their Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, with the QBI, the Qualified Business Income Deduction, the extra 20%. So he does care a little bit about small businesses, but he cares about the large ones a lot more. So I don't really know what this means in terms of enforcement. I think maybe they will go after some small businesses more, but I don't think there's going to be increased funding for that particular purpose. So let's see. Will the agency be permitted to complete its effort to upgrade its computer systems? It better. It damn well better. I mean, if Trump or Doge, Elon and Vivek, if this isn't one of the very first things that they do, not just for the IRS, but for the government as a whole, is upgrading the technology for the service, I'm going to be extremely disappointed, because I can't defend an agency that has the same technology from like the 80s, or the 60s. I forgot what we said it was. It was COBOL, which I think somebody said came out, was it in the 60s? But they need to upgrade that stuff. And of course, like I said in my last stream, Elon paid a visit to the IRS headquarters to look at their computer systems, and it was not pretty. So I actually do think that they're going to be permitted to upgrade their computer systems. I don't see any way, after Elon made those comments the way he did, I don't see any way they don't do that. So I'm actually kind of optimistic about that. What's the next point? What will happen to the direct file program that allows some taxpayers to file returns online? Will Musk and Ramaswamy's idea for taxpayers to file with a phone app mean they'll scrap the IRS's promising version and start from scratch? I actually think they're going to keep the direct filing program as it is. So the direct filing, I actually did a stream on this again over 2 years ago when they were first setting this up. You can file your taxes directly with the IRS on their website. But the thing is, it's kind of like using TurboTax from what I hear. So you're really only going to want to do that if you have a very simple tax situation, like maybe one W-2, maybe an interest statement, something like that. But I don't think they're going to touch that. The part that I don't see them getting is any type of app, right? That's going to just scan your W-2 and fill in all that stuff. Because I mean, Intuit's already been doing this and trying to do it for years now. And from what I hear, there's still a lot of bugs associated with that. Like, some people have tried it. And if any of you know this, let me know, put it in the chat if you know if this has worked. But I have a hard time seeing them actually caring enough to implement that for the IRS. So if anything, I do think they'll keep that direct filing program in place. They'll make the systems better, but I don't know. I just don't feel like they have any type of motivation to create some kind of app where you can just scan it. I would actually like to be wrong about that. I think it'd be neat if they did that. I think there was one more bullet point here. Okay. Trump has promised, quote, retribution in his second term. What does that mean? Or what does he mean? Will he use the IRS as a tool to punish his enemies and protect friends? All right. Again, this is just a gut feeling. Excuse me. I think he may do a little bit of this. Look, every president's done it, ever since Obama opened this can of worms. So I think that he's going to do a little bit of this. But I don't think it's going to be even close to as big of a deal as the media is going to try to make it out to be. Like, I can see CNN and MSNBC and all those other ones, have a big headline. Oh my God, there's so-and-so, left-wing, nonprofit organization has been audited. This has all the doings of Trump. And I would just say I wouldn't really care, because those agencies probably need to be audited. I mean, the amount of, supposed suspected money laundering that can go through some of these NGOs and some of these nonprofits is probably staggering. So I think he's going to do some of that. I don't think he's going to make it like his mission to go after his political opponents the way Obama did. And Obama did do that. If you don't believe me, just read some articles about it. So yeah, I think there'll be some of that, but not as much as they're saying. So let me see if we got Any more here? Oh, yeah. The unanswerable question: how will taxpayers respond when the president and his most senior staffers describe the nation's tax collector as their enemy? um, how will those who did not vote for Trump respond to what they may perceive as a political takeover of the IRS? Well, all I can say is that I don't give a crap about how negatively some of these taxpayers are going to respond to him calling, the IRS like the enemy. First of all, he hasn't ever really said that. He hasn't been like, we're going to shut. He has said that he may end the IRS, but I don't think he means like, we're not going to have a taxing authority at all. He's just saying there can be a better organization in place. So let's be honest. Most of the people that did vote for Trump, or I'm sorry, that did not vote for Trump. So the people that did not vote for Trump are probably ones that don't have a lot of money in the first place. Like, yes, there were a ton of rich people, like Hollywood celebrities, some athletes. Those rich people obviously voted for Kamala. But I mean, beyond them, who do you think most small business owners voted for? Who do you think a lot of the corporate owners voted for? Who do you think the people who just want to earn an honest living and not get taxed to death voted for? So, when I see a line there where they're just like, how will those who did not vote for Trump respond to what they may perceive as a political takeover of the IRS? I don't give a shit. I just don't. And I don't think any of you should either. I mean, maybe I'm a dick for that, but I just don't care. That's their problem. It's been our problem forever. So who cares? I don't care. Let me see what else we got here. Oh yeah, I'll finish up the article here and then some final thoughts. Some may think attacks on the IRS by Trump and his allies were nothing more than campaign rhetoric, but administration actions based on those words could have significant consequences for the IRS, taxpayers, and it says fisc. I don't know if they mean fiscal government, but that is the article. And a few things. I don't know. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts about this on the, in the chat. Like, do you think Trump is really going to go in there and just, start kicking ass and taking names and raising hell and, kind of whitewashing the whole thing? I'm not really seeing it, but I do. So here's what I really think is going to happen. And I mentioned some of this. I think Trump and Musk and Vivek, like these guys, they're going to pay far less attention to messing around with the IRS than a lot of these panicking journalists think they will. I just think that a lot of this is just fear mongering because they're setting them up to be like the IRS's boogeymen and everything. But I just don't really think there's going to be all that many changes, in all honesty. I think there's just so many other things that they need to do that it's hard for me to really think of them focusing too much time, with the IRS. Another thing that I guess I said this a second ago, they are not going to eliminate the IRS, and I don't think that they're going to implement some kind of national sales tax or any type of fair tax plan. I just really don't see it. Now, I would love it if they did that. Believe it or not, there are other things I can do besides tax, but I would like it if they did that. I think it would be more fair to not have any type of income tax, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. One of the reasons I don't see it is because that, I mean, it was Dave Chappelle did a bit on this about Trump. Trump and Vivek, Musk, all of these people, including the Democrats and everything, they actually benefit from the system we have in place with the IRS, with all the business deductions and, net operating losses, carry forward interest on all of the real estate, particularly that Trump has. So it's not really in any of their best interest to eliminate the income tax. So I think that is just fluff from the campaign. They're like, oh, we're going to do this, but they're not going to. They're not. But otherwise, I think all they're really going to do beyond fixing the technology, which they better do, is, maybe they'll get a little bit more funding for customer service. If they do, if they have to concede some of that funding for more enforcement, fine. But just make sure you get those other upgrades in place. And I'm like I said, I'm a little bit unsure if I can really see them doing all this, but I certainly hope so. So another point, yeah, Trump is probably going to put a few of his loyalists in there, and yeah, it's probably going to make it easier for him to cut out the dead weight if it's easier to file civil servants. Like I said, nobody in here thought that was a bad thing. It's only government workers, obviously, who feel like it's a bad thing to make it harder for them to get fired. I challenge you to find any private citizen that's just kind of like, oh no, I want them to have, ample security. They get all these good benefit options, even though half of them don't do any work. Another quarter are just flat out dead weight, and others are just. So, if you are actually a good federal employee, and we've had a few that have popped on here, like Harvey Polanski, he works for the IRS. If you're good at your job and you're not lazy and you're actually productive, what do you have to be worried about, right? So I actually do think that Trump is going to make it easier to fire people. May have to wrap this up in a few. I hear my parents getting back home and they brought Mexican food, so I need to eat that soon. But again, my bottom line prediction is that there's really nothing bad that's going to happen once Trump and his people get back into power. Now, I think it's going to lead to a bit more of an efficiently run organization with those technology upgrades. And yeah, I get why Trump's political opponents are scared right now. I think maybe they should be in a small way, they're not absolutely going to shut down the agency and send them after him, but oh, what's up, Craig? How you doing, dude? But yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say about this is I don't really care if people on that side of the aisle are afraid. Let them be afraid. They deserve to be afraid. After all, it was their messiah, Obama, that started this whole weaponizing of the IRS. So hey, turnabout is fair play. Yeah, man, I will. I'll let you know. I'm in Portland right now. I miss you too, dude. We're due for a catch up. Craig is a friend of mine who had a cool job working in the city of Chicago. He doesn't have that job anymore, thankfully, but he has got some very good stories. You know what, Craig? If you ever want to be on the show, maybe we'll just get you on. So that was really all I had about the topic regarding Trump and the IRS and what we may see. Let's see. I got a few more minutes. If anybody has any more comments or questions, I don't think there's any more super chats here. I'm going to run through the comments here. It was with one screen. It was really hard to pay attention to them while trying to read this article and then read my own notes to what was in the article. So give me just 1 second here. Yeah, Phil, I'm telling you, I mean, they're not all useless, but a lot of them are. I'm just telling you. Let's see. So good Fed employees, about 30 to 50%. Thanks to Orange Man Bad. Is that what OMB means? Yeah, 30 to 50%. I was thinking more. Yeah, I like the 30% number. At least 30% of the employees are rock solid, very good. You'd like to hope it was 50%, but I don't know about that. Common says, there's so much dead weight in the government. If you cut the fat, you'd save so much money and the U.S. could cut its budget in half. I've sort of thought the same thing for a long time now. So I'm really excited to see what this Doge committee that Elon and Vivek are running can fix. I just hope it's not all fluff. I hope they're really trying to improve at least something, if not the IRS, with some other agencies, because yeah, there's so much fat. Let me see. Any other comments? Yeah, there's some comment about raising Social Security and Medicare age. What is the age? I forget. Is it 62? Is the first time you can draw Social Security? Let's see what else. Oh, Jill says it was originally 65, but with no early filing option at 62. So you can file for Social Security at 62. You just get a lower benefit, I think is how it works. Let's see what else. I think that I don't know. I've always thought that Social Security is kind of a Ponzi scheme if you think about it, especially when you have to borrow money from it to pay the Social Security recipients now. And by the way, a lot of these boomers are multimillionaires, and yep, they're still collecting Social Security because their rationale is I paid for it my whole life, so I'm going to keep milking the system. I'd like to be critical of that, but I'd probably do the same thing, so I can't. But they may want to change that whole thing, find a way to buy people out from collecting Social Security. It would save money. Let me see. Yeah, government work is backwards. You can't fire anybody, massively overpaid compared to the same job in the private sector. And if you work hard, you get rewarded with some lazy person's work. Exactly. There's no repercussions for being lazy. I mean, you have to be really, really, really lazy to get fired from the government. So, yeah. Enron, Elkins. Yeah, I'll never forget how I applied for a job with Enron my final year of undergrad. Made it to the second round, and shit hit the fan. So didn't get hired with Enron, which was probably a good thing. I would have had to live in Houston, which. Oh, what's up, Aubrey? Hey, Alex Patino's here. What's up, dude? Man, it's so cool to see all you guys here. I never know when I'm not with Clary who's gonna be up for hanging around, so this made me feel good. I think Super Pilotish, $5 Canadian. Hey man, pop into my chat for a Christmas extravaganza at noon Eastern on the 25th. So 9 o'clock Pacific. Merry Christmas to all. I will do that, Super Pilotish. Go to Super Pilotish's channel. He talks a lot about aviation and some other cool topics. I tune in there occasionally. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's either 11 a.m. or noon Eastern time. I think it's probably noon Eastern time. But correct me if I'm wrong, Super Pilotish. But yeah, go to his channel. He's got some cool stuff there. And yeah, you'll find a stream that we did back in May. Another one, Mr. WMKK for $5 Canadian. Caught the stream late. Sorry if it's been asked, but should this have an effect on pursuing on the EA certifications at all, or are those jobs safe still? This won't affect the EA. This won't affect the EA. I still think people should try to get the EA. No matter what Trump decides to do with the IRS, there is a severe shortage of tax professionals in this country, and they are absolutely not going to get rid of the EA certification. Absolutely not. They can't do that. No, I wouldn't worry about that at all. So yeah, pursue it. And if anything, I think the IRS may go on a bit more of a hiring spree once these guys have their way with it. But I think it means they're going to hire people that they're replaced. Like they're going to kick out the dead weight and hire bright young professionals to get back into the agency. So you getting your EA, if you really wanted to, you could work at the new and improved IRS. So it's just an option. Yep, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Super Pilotish. That's his channel. Let me see. I think that's all we got here. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats or anything like that. Well, this is an interesting comment from the other Marcus Brown. I had to quit my job for the second time due to being diagnosed with a congestive heart failure a few months ago. So I might have to apply for disability now. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Congestive heart failure. I'm sorry, dude. Well, I mean, yeah, if you can't work, you may as well get disability. You would actually deserve it, unlike some other people. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Common says I'm going the CPA route, but to be honest, for the average Joe, I recommend the EA because the CPA requires a lot more fat. Yes, foreign audit and another one on top of reg. Reg is the tax section. That's what Clary and I have been preaching for a while, on my channel and his channel. I do think that you should, if you know you want to be in tax, like you know for sure, yeah, go straight to the EA. You don't have to get an accounting undergrad degree. You don't have to spend all that money, for college. Just get your EA, start working in tax. It's that simple. All right, I think that's everything we got here. I'll go ahead and call it. Guys, I really appreciate the super chats and for hanging out. It kind of feels good to do a solo stream again because, I always really enjoy doing these with Clary, like sincerely I do, but it is kind of nice to just be able to say whatever I want to say and create dead air without somebody going crazy. So I want to miss all of you guys. I want to, let's see, today's the 23rd. Yeah. I want to wish all you guys a Merry Christmas. It's coming up. I don't think I'm going to do a stream before the new year, but if something comes up, I will. So Happy New Year if I don't do another one, but also Merry Christmas, and looking forward to getting back on here again. So we should hang out again when? I'm thinking soon.